Welcome to the Out of the Ashes podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Hilarious. Today, I have Delene Musielak with me. For Dr. Musielak, her journey began in her home country, Guyana, South America, where she was born and raised. Dr. Musielak grew up in a Christian home with parents who were both pastors. Her parents have played a vital role in her upbringing as a persistent, independent, and strong woman. At the age of 6, she migrated with her family to the United States. From a very young age, she told her parents that she wanted to be a doctor, and that is exactly the road she pursued. After obtaining her medical degree, she not only went on to train in one specialty, but two. Dr. Musielak is dual boarded in Internal Medicine and Pediatrics. She cares for the whole gamut, or as she says, from the cradle to the grave. Dr. Musielak has not only made her mark in the local community, but is also involved on a national level in making changes that impact medical care. Dr. Musielak does not stop there, though. She has persevered and continues to challenge herself to be a leader and the best at everything she does. Dr. Musielak is not only a full-time physician and associate program director, but a supermom of triplets, a wife of an amazing surgeon, an international bestseller author, motivational and wellness speaker, personal development coach, and entrepreneur. She has even started her own show, The Dr. Mom Show, where she is known as Dr. D, Mom of Three, to serve as a medical informational resource. Dr. Musielak also hosts a women's Facebook group called Fearless, Flourishing, and Fulfilled Females, which includes weekly challenges, recipes, healthy tips, and daily encouragement. She has published 2 books this far and is currently working on her first book collaboration, Women of War, Peace in the Midst of the Storm. Her first book is entitled MOM, Meditate, Overcome, Motivate, which is a 30-day women's devotional journal. Her second book is a loving autobiography of the first year with her triplets, illustrated in a children's book entitled The Tripsies and Me, which has become an international bestseller. Dr. Musielak's goal is to impact those around her by encouraging, empowering, and elevating them to reach their maximum potential. She enjoys sharing her own life experiences to help others do this. She continues to strive to be the best in her field and gives God the credit for all that she has accomplished. She hopes to be the next female version of Dr. Oz in the future. Welcome, Delene.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kristin.
First, let's start off by telling us a little bit more in depth what you do and on your show and in your practice to be a leader and to help women.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned from my bio, so I'm an associate program director, which I'm super excited about. It's my 1-year anniversary this month doing that. Woo! And essentially, I help train the new interns, which is, a lot of fun. I enjoy teaching and I really strive on quality of care. So I love the fact that I get to input into future doctors to make quality of patient care priorities. So I love that. So I get to do that. Then I have a clinic with the hospital I work for where I get to see my own patients, adults and kids. And after having the babies, that's how my Dr. Mom show started. God really just laid it on my heart because people are always under the impression that if you're a pediatrician or you're a doctor, it's like easy peasy to bring up kids, but quite the contrary, because everything you learn kind of goes out the door when it's your own child bleeding or having a fever. You're like, what do I do? The Dr. Mom show came about because I just wanted it again to be a resource to both patients and parents, that they can learn more about different medical topics, insurance, just questions that they may have, so they can have a better conversation and a better understanding when they speak to physicians. So I just bring it down because nowadays people, they look at Facebook, they look at blogs, they just Google something and you get something random that isn't evidence-based. And I just wanted it to be an evidence-based resource that people can say, okay, like I know this is reliable. So at least what I'm being told here is what, the guidelines are. So I've thoroughly enjoyed that. And then as you mentioned, my Facebook group, Fearless, Flourishing, and Fulfill Females, I do really my heart really goes out to women who suffer from anxiety, depression. I use that group to help women I call it the wholesome woman, to bring everything together mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And again, I'm a Christian, so I always impart that. I have no problem saying that I'm a Christian. I believe in God. And just like in my bio, I give him all the glory. Like I would never be where I am now if it was not for him. So I definitely give him first and foremost all the glory for everything that I've accomplished. So I stay pretty busy doing all that.
I'm imagining so. For our listeners, there's a lot of women that are struggling with moving out of a mentality of being a victim and to become a survivor and to move past some of the trauma that has happened to them. And that's one of the things that I really loved about your Facebook group, because I think that that's really kind of where we're at. When we're moving from victim to survivor, we really need to feel that we can be strong and we can be independent and we can come out of this an amazing individual. With all that being said, in your Facebook group, how do you help women who are struggling with anxiety? Because this is actually one of the things that is one of the biggest struggles for women that are coming out of a situation of abuse.
Yeah, indeed. So every week I do a challenge. This past week was a physical challenge. And just to backtrack, our mindset has a lot to do with everything. If mentally we're not focused, or if mentally, like you just said, we feel that we're a victim, you're going to become a victim in everything, in your job, in your physical health, in your emotional health. I mean, it's just a downhill roller coaster that you're speeding down at a rapid pace. So I try to entail different challenges. So mental challenges, emotional challenges. This past week was a physical challenge where I just challenge women to either take more steps or do some sit-ups or do some push-ups. Maybe the week before that would be a little bit more pertinent. It's something called earthing, where studies have shown that, your connection with nature has helped with inflammatory diseases or autoimmune diseases. So going outside with just your bare feet and feeling nature, studies again have shown, or taking a walk, taking deep breaths outside and getting, fresh air, not like the recycled air, in your house or in your job. So it's just little challenges like that. And I really try to get the women in the group involved with, some days I'll have like Wednesday is like Wednesday wisdom, where I'll post like a question, like, what do you do to exercise more? Like, what's your trick? Or how do you use something to, meditate better or to read more? So then the women help each other. And I really wanted to, I really wanted to be a place. I told the women, hey, like, feel free if you see somebody who does something and you want to connect with them, like, that's the platform. Like, that's why I made this platform. So I think it gives a little bit accountability, because it is hard as women. I feel that we're very good at putting on a mask and a smile on our face and, saying everything's okay while you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, or, you have something going on, but we're very good at hiding that. So my goal is for it to be a place that people can come, relate to other people, and find relationships with other people there, to have a support group.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. I've just started getting involved with this Facebook group, and it's really kind of fun to watch it. And I'm excited to continue doing that more in the future. So as we talk about some of these things, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned about God and life and being a woman?
Probably the biggest lesson is it's God's timetable.
Absolutely.
No, I think that applies to everything between God's purpose for your life, your love life, your life itself, and your career. I've just found, I feel, and I'm so guilty of this, of being like, God, this is how I see it working out. Like I have it worked out, written out, like this is how it'll work out perfectly. God, let me help you out here. But God doesn't need our help. He already has it worked out even more beautifully than we could even imagine.
Absolutely.
So I think just kind of sitting back and letting him be in control, which again is hard. And especially for me, I'm the type of person like hands on, let me do it. I'll just get it done. And I think most women are like that too.
Yeah.
But I think just to realize that it's on God's timing, we may think it's the right timing, but he knows us better than anybody else. And he knows when the right timing is.
Absolutely. And I think you hit it right on there, that I think most women are like that.
Yeah.
And, and we want to take control. We want to be like, yes, I've got this. God, you don't get it, And I think that maybe part of it comes from just that part of being a woman where we're very nurturing and we want to take care of things.
Yes.
And so it's like, well, but God, we need to help you along here. And he's like, no.
So true.
One of the questions I want to ask you, and I love this question, and I want to preface it here. When I say failure, I am looking at the big picture in terms of that I understand that a failure isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
A failure can lead to something that we are learning from it. And so in that sense, I'm striving for failure because it means I'm going to learn something.
Yes.
And so with that, what would you consider to be your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
I have a temper. Which I've done I've become so much better. I've prayed, I don't get angry easily. It takes a lot for me to get angry, but when I'm upset, I'm upset. So you really have to push me to get me upset. But once I'm there, I'm upset.
Right.
And I would say, and maybe more so, I feel like I was a failure at this point. Once when I was in training, there was just this group of social workers who were talking about me, and I kept hearing that they were talking more and more about me and just gossiping, about me, things that weren't true. And then I just kind of finally got pushed over the edge. And I mean, nothing happened. I didn't get into a fight or anything during my training, but I just behaved in a manner that I feel, looking back now, I just, shouldn't have done that. And I mean, now that I'm more mature and older, I have learned from that. And I've learned, now that I have kids, obviously you can't get angry at everything that they do. I've definitely become more patient as I've aged and mature. And even when I got married, I was very quick to I was always trying to it was almost like I was trying to push my husband's buttons. I wanted I wanted a response for him. I wanted him to get hit back, and he's so laid back. It's so funny. He's like, okay, whatever. And I would literally try to push and push. And it was to the point where he called my parents, and he's like, Delene just keeps saying things that I feel like she's trying to be hurtful for me to, get a response. And it's so funny because my dad's like that. I can totally see it. I can see my mom being da 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 da, a typical woman nagging the husband, and my dad's just whatever, it's not even worth it. And that's how my husband is. And so through my relationship with him and just through growing, I think that's one weakness I've had, that, I just get upset. But again, it's a work in progress. And like you said, you want it because I'm sure learning from that has saved me from doing embarrassing things as I've grown up and become a physician. I've never gotten thank God I've never gotten mad at my practice or mad at my patients, but I feel if I didn't let God work in me, and if I didn't go through what I did in my training, there's a possibility that I would act out in some manner that I would have regretted after becoming a professional. So
oh, that's really good.
oh man, people are finding stuff out about Dr. D.
You touched on something that I find it happening all the time. As women, we are so super critical of each other. We're always tearing each other down, gossiping about somebody that's made something for themselves.
Yeah.
We are trained, and partly by our own selves, that a strong, independent woman is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is amazing to be a strong, independent woman. And what would you say to a woman who's listening, who is being told by society, by the women around her, that who she is not enough? Like, she needs to not be a strong, independent woman because that's not what women are supposed to be, so to speak.
Yeah.
What would you say to her?
So I love that you brought that up because you're so right. As women, we're like trained that if you walk into a room, like, you're gonna look at a woman from top to bottom and say something or think something, and very always comparing yourself to other people. And that's something, as again, I've matured, because you always see people like look at you in your podcast. It would be easy for you to look out there and say, like, how does Michelle have all those viewers? Or, what's she doing? Like, my show's, if you listen to the show, you're like, my show's way better than hers, like, how did she get all those subscribers? So it's very easy to do that. But as I've started my Dr. Mom show and become an entrepreneur, I've moved more. And I think this is where an independent woman comes into, and a strong woman, is that you're so confident in yourself that that somebody else isn't really your competition.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer. I heard somebody say this at a conference. She said, when I'm going up on that elevator, I'm grabbing every woman around me
and see who
wants to go up with me, and I'm taking them with me. And from the time she said that, I'm like, that's how I want to be. Because if there was a woman, and thank God I've met some women like that when they're going up or when they learn something new, they're like, hey, Delene, like, I learned this could take your Dr. Mom show to the next level. This could improve it. So I feel like I've built, and for all you independent women out there trying to build your business, or, do something, or you have your own business, definitely be of that mindset and that mentality that, when something, share it with another woman, help another woman. Because you're right, in society, I feel that society, even though, we are equals, we're viewed as equals. I mean, I still get journals in my medical magazine that female physicians are still paid less than male physicians. And how is that even possible? Because, we take the same examination. Right. You're working the same hours. I mean, it's not like you're doing anything different. So that's always so mind-boggling. So I just encourage you that you are strong, you are confident. Don't let society tell you that you can't do it or you shouldn't be independent. But at the same time, I urge you to help other women out there. And if you know something, teach them. Because one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur is I can't, I may look and say, like, oh my gosh, there's Dr. Oz, there's the doctor show. Last night I was looking up some other stuff and I saw there's another big doctor show in the UK. Like, if I said to myself, like, oh my gosh, my Dr. Mom show will never make it, because ultimately, yes, I would, I'm praying that my Dr. Mom show is going to be on national TV. But, if I looked at that and I said my Dr. Mom show isn't going to make it, I could give up. But you know what? These shows, we may do something that somebody else does, that another woman does, but one person can't reach the entire world.
Absolutely.
So don't think that just because another woman is doing something that you're doing, you guys, different people like different personalities. Some people may be like, oh, Dr. Mom, she makes too many jokes and she's too silly. I need somebody who's like serious, And then there may be people who are like, oh my gosh, I love Dr. Mom, but I can't like stand, another show, So you're going to attract different people, and you can't attract everybody. So Absolutely. That's why you should help other women grow, because they'll attract the other people that you can't attract. But you're helping at the end, in turn, you're helping one person to help more people. And that's one thing about my Facebook group. My goal is to reach 10,000 women And at the end of the day, through myself and these 10,000 women to reach 1 million women.
Love it.
So even though I'm not the one who's personally reaching 1 million women, I've reached 10,000 women, and through them, they ultimately we will reach 1 million women together and help 1 million women. So don't let society, sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. It's Sunday morning, we preaching up in here.
Indeed.
But yes, definitely don't let society bring you down and discourage you from being a strong, independent woman. It's something that is so great, and you should be proud of if that's what you are and that is who you are.
And I think one of the things for me that really helped me to see this was to realize God created me as me.
That's right.
He gave me the gifts and the talents and the abilities and the personality and the character that he gave me. He gave me that. The quote that I heard that was just absolutely phenomenal for me was, the world needs you. The world needs the unique gifts that you bring.
That.
And I think that kind of encompasses what you were saying. They need us.
Yes, that's right.
And it's not something to be scared of.
No, you're right. Because like you mentioned before, nobody's perfect. When I started my Dr. Mom show, my Facebook group, I mean, it's not perfect. I try to do a live video every day on the Facebook group during the week, but there's some days where I get up and I'm like late to taking the babies to school and I have to rush off to the hospital that I don't get to do it, so it's definitely far from perfect. But I think if you, again, put yourself out there, do your best, use your talents, because, in the Bible, you had the servants who had their talents. One of them used their talents and God multiplied their talents. The other one buried their,
yes.
Like you said, some people hide their talents and don't use it, and you're not going to grow and you're not going to get the blessing that God has in store for you when you hide the gifts and talents that he's given to you.
Absolutely. So if you could step into my shoes, what is one question that you would have asked that I didn't?
I would have asked, like, where do I see myself? Where do I want God to put me in like 5 years? And this is me helping God out.
And so how would you answer that question?
I would answer that is that I ultimately would love to go part-time as a physician, because I truly enjoy being a physician. I find it such a privilege that God chose me to give me the wisdom to go through medical school and to become a doctor. But I really want to do medical missionary work. And, that's something that's not paid. You have to have streams of revenue coming in, because you're taking off. You go out for 2 to 4 weeks at a time. And that's why, I feel God laid things like the Dr. Mom show on my heart, so I can have other streams of revenue, or why he's laid books on my heart and, being an entrepreneur, so I can have these other streams of revenue. Because God in his Bible doesn't tell us we're going to live in poverty. God promises us that we're going to live in the overflow. So I have no problem in asking God to make sure that he provides for me and my family.
Oh, I love it.
So ultimately that is what I want to do, because, I feel God has placed me on here to do more, to serve more than just being a physician, but to serve in places that don't have medical care, but also be able to preach the gospel at the same time.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. What is your favorite Bible verse, and why is that your favorite Bible verse? What does it mean to you?
So my favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, not plans to discourage you, but plans of favor, of happiness, of hope, and good success. And, that was my first leaving for medical school. So when I left for medical school, that was my first time leaving home. I stayed at home for college, which I'm proud of, because my mama cooked for me. She did my laundry. I was not somebody who was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to move out. I was like, yes, I love my family. That verse has carried me through everything: medical school, my training, even now, I know some people, I've had patients say, make comments to me like, you don't know, you're a doctor, you don't understand. But, I'm like, I'm the first doctor in my family. My family's not rich. I don't come from money. I had to take out loans to go to school,
Right.
So I know people sometimes stereotype others and they think a certain way, but you never know somebody's situation.
Right.
And that verse just means a lot to me, because whenever I felt down or I felt like things aren't going, like my way,
Yep.
I just always remember that no matter what, he's in control, and ultimately he wants me to be happy. He wants me to be successful, and he wants me to prosper. So that's why I love that verse.
Good. I love it. I love it. So if you want to mention here where they can connect with you online.
Yeah, so you guys can check out my website. That's just www.delenemusielak.com. That's my name. So you can check out Miss Kristin's website so you can get that information. And also on Facebook, for sure, check out, just type in Fearless, Flourishing, and Fulfill Females. I think you guys will have a lot of fun in that group. And then of course on YouTube, just look up the Dr. Mom Show. Don't forget to subscribe, follow along, and definitely don't forget to let people follow Miss Kristin. I think this is a great thing that she's doing here, something that's needed, because as women, again, we have a hard time talking about difficult times in our life. But it's really nice when we get together and you feel comfortable enough to, lay things out and take that burden off of your shoulder. So definitely keep supporting her.
Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us today on this episode. It was really great talking to you.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me. You'll have to come on the Dr. Mom Show.
Sounds good. I would love it. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Out of the Ashes. Remember, if you have a topic that you would like me to cover, contact me on my website or email. Have a great day and God bless.